I honestly wasn't expecting anything like this. I knew it was going to be a lot of fun. I knew I was going to learn and meet new people, but I was not expecting to get such an amazing experience out of it.
It's been quite an experience, but yeah, I'm glad I came out here. Australia's beautiful. Everything about it's pretty relaxing.
It's fantastic actually being able to do fieldwork rather than learning about it in your university and the lecture. It doesn't quite click as much as when you're up here.
It's really what I'm passionate about, and so I'm just getting a lot of field work, and I'm getting credits for it too, and so I would highly recommend it because you get to meet great people. You're in a wonderful location. It's beautiful, and yeah, it's just a wonderful opportunity.
Tropical Marine Biology is an intensive field-based unit that students can take, where they have two short 3-day projects that they undertake on different topics in the field, working as groups in a variety of habitats, but based around Coral Bay on the Ningaloo Reef in Western Australia.
I'm from Melbourne, Florida.
I'm from Perth, Western Australia.
I'm from Rock Hall, Maryland, which is on the eastern shore of Maryland, right on the Chesapeake Bay.
From Queens, New York.
I'm from Falmouth, Maine.
Dampier, Western Australia, in the Pilbara.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, but I go to school in Clemson, South Carolina.
I'm studying marine science and biology at the University of Tampa.
Double degree marine science and environmental management.
I just studied general biology with a minor in chemistry, and I'd like to specialize in marine science.
I'm studying conservation biology and biological sciences, but I have a focus in marine science. I'm working in a marine science research lab.
I'm doing marine science and environmental science, a 4-year degree.
I'm in the biology program, and I am minoring in pre-vet, so hopefully I'll go to vet school next year.
Environmental science, minoring in marine biology.
The projects that we run vary from year to year depending on the expertise of the teaching staff that we employ and that are available. So the one that's at this location where we're sitting is one that I've been running for 5 years now, looking at intertidal ecology.
Basically what we were doing is we were looking at the effects of the boat ramp that they put in. So we were laying transects on each side of the boat ramp and counting the organisms and comparing if there's a difference between the two sides of the boat ramp. We found that on the one side where the resources have been blocked off by the boat ramp, there are far less organisms and less diversity.
So we now have 5 years worth of data for that, and we're looking at compiling that and actually making that available as a research publication. Other projects include an underwater visual census of fish. That's run in conjunction with the Department of Environment and Conservation.
Basically, we were doing a survey of fish populations of particularly reef fish. So what we'll do is just every 10 meters we lay out a transect, and these transects run about 50 meters, about 5 meters wide, and we basically just count fish as we're swimming through the transects. So.
One person was the script and had to record all the fish he saw along the way, and I recorded the habitat that was around the fish every 5 meters, and it was actually really cool because it was super hands-on, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
We have been collecting seaweed or algae samples. We want to know the 3 dominant algae species between 2 sites. So we have Turbinaria, Lobophoria and Sargassum, and that's just for Bills Bay. But in Five Fingers we found only 2 of those species that dominate, and we think that's because we're still seeing summer season, so usually the algae diversity or species richness changes from winter and summer.
This year we've got one looking at stingray populations.
So we're up before the sun was up, and about 4 in the afternoon we're down the beach again, just counting the stingrays. We wandered up and down the beach in the water doing transects, looking for stingrays, and then we also put quadrats out, 10 by 10 metre quadrats out in the water, and counted the stingray pits where they've been feeding. So they're actually a depression in the sand where you can tell they've been like flapping their wings trying to stir up the sediment and find the food in the sediment. So you do counts on that.
Stingrays are quite important in this environment. It's a shallow sandy habitat, so they're quite an important feeder or grazer in the system.
What we were studying was with John Heisman, and our group was looking at the red algae that damselfish have been known to farm in their territories. So we would go out each day in the freezing cold water with our wetsuits on, so that made it a lot better. And once we got in the water, it was totally forgot about how cold it was. And we would lay down transects, and we would count the people of our group would be on the left and 2 people would be on the right, and we would go through and count the damselfish that we saw in the damselfish territories, and then we would go through and sample territories. Well, they were supposed to be really aggressive, and it was kind of a bummer because they weren't aggressive at all. They actually hid from us. Like, we would go down, we were just snorkeling. We would go down and wait for them to like come out and attack us like they said, but they didn't do anything. I mean, there's fish that are about that big, and they weren't that aggressive.
We set up transects, 3 transects in Paradise Bay and then 3 transects at Five Fingers, and we studied the benthic community structure, and we figured out the differences between both bays. We found that there were a lot more invertebrates at Five Fingers because there's limestone substrate at the bottom, which grows algae, and then the urchins all go to the algae and they eat it, so it's better for invertebrates than a structure of like rubble and sand.
We teach advanced marine ecology principles, so that they understand the processes that go on in the marine environment, particularly in a tropical sense, but also they get extensive fieldwork experience, and a lot of students really have very limited opportunities to work in the field.
You learn a lot. You learn a lot about projects and also being in the field.
Doing these hands-on things that I would probably never ever do in a classroom, and being in this beautiful, amazing place, and I'm just trying to soak up every minute of it.
I worked so I could save up for this trip, and it was just, the payoff was so worth it. I've made awesome friends. Like, the education that I'm getting on this trip is wonderful. Like, I'm getting a lot of hands-on research. I'm getting to work with professors whose papers I've read in different classes, and it's been incredible.
Aside from just seeing how education works in a different country, you meet so many people.
When we first got here on the first day, we went and did a snorkel tour, and we saw a white tip and a black tip reef shark. They just like fully just like turned around and they were there like following us. It was a bit scary. And we saw a couple of turtles that were just chilling, swimming around. It was really cool.
They have 6 days of project time. In addition to that, we also take them on a couple of cruises where they get to see the marine environment and interact with marine megafauna, in particular the manta rays.
We went out on the boat. It was a little bit disappointing because it was a little bit windy, but we still got to see like at least, I think it was 6 different rays, and there was like a chain of 3 and they were chasing each other.
You don't actually appreciate how big these creatures are until you get in the water with them.
We were just swimming behind them and they were just feeding on the plankton, and we actually saw one of the only 10 resident species. Her name is Isabella, and we just followed her around and she just kept on doing barrel rolls, feeding, and I mean, it was this close to my face, and it was incredible because I had no idea the size of these animals.
Amazing how close you can actually get to them, like a wild creature, and they're just like chilling in front of you, like doing the rolls and just like doing normal stuff, and it's just insane to be able to like experience that.
The unit has always been designed to be a mixture of domestic students from Australia and also international students from the US. We're happy to take international students from other locations as well, but our market so far has been the US, and the interaction of those students has been fantastic.
Even if you're not really into marine science, like I didn't come for the marine science specifically, I just thought it'd be a cool thing to experience. It was great because I learned so much more than I probably would have ever at my university at home.
Made lots of friends and met lots of new people and got to learn about stingrays and swim with manta rays, and it was really good.
Yeah, I love it and I don't want to go home.